For 5 years, commissioners studied church and state institutions. Two recommendations from the panel about celibacy and the confessional seal are highly controversial. Currents News' Michelle Powers has details of that bombshell ruling.
Yes, investigators say child sex abuse in Australia is not just a problem of the past. Some of the alleged abuse is so recent that victims are still in school.
Your Honour, I invite you to present your report.
In a probe led by Australia's highest form of inquiry, more than 8,000 people testified to having suffered sexual abuse within religious and state establishments. Of those abused in religious institutions, more than half are Catholics.
Survivors and their families who've told, often for the first time, the dreadful stories of abuse that they received from people who actually owed them love and protection.
Investigators recommend hundreds of suggestions to stop the abuse. They urge the Vatican to consider introducing voluntary celibacy and overturning a core sacramental principle in Catholicism, the seal of the confessional. The Commission's final report says a priest should be charged for failing to report abuse confessed during the sacrament of reconciliation.
This is a shameful past in which a prevailing culture of secrecy and self-protection led to unnecessary suffering for many victims and their families.
Archbishop Hart, the leader of the Archdiocese of Melbourne, laments the Catholic Church has historically failed children, but says the confessional seal cannot be broken. Instead, he's optimistic about the fight to end abuse through other means.
We'll be taking the Royal Commission's report and recommendations very seriously, and we've commissioned an initial assessment of its findings.
In an online statement, the Vatican says the report that is the culmination of nearly 5 years of examination deserves to be studied in depth. Numerous times during his pontificate, Pope Francis has had harsh words for clerical abusers.
Porque esos chicos y esas chicas le fueron confiados al carisma sacerdotal para llevarlos a Dios.
Earlier this year, one of Pope Francis's closest administrators, Australian Cardinal George Pell, the former finance minister, became the most senior Catholic official to face sex charges. He proclaims his innocence and vows to fight those allegations. Here's the prelate speaking last June.
I'm looking forward, finally, to having my day in court. The whole idea of sexual abuse is abhorrent to me.
In March, an Australian court will decide if Cardinal Pell is to go on trial.